Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting. My name is John Chang, and I'm the CIO here at the CMC Associates. We are here today to talk about the BYOD project. So in today's presentation, first we'll briefly introduce the background of BYOD, covering what it is and what will it involve. We'll then present an analysis on the financial model of the project using 4 benchmarks. Next, we will conduct sensitivity analysis on 3 specific scenarios, and in conclusion, a summary of the findings will be discussed and a recommendation on BYOD project will be made to the senior management of CMC Associates. We will also cover the important issues to consider and the findings from the research conducted that are relevant to the BYOD in lessons learned. Last but not least, a list of reference will be provided for those of you who are interested in gaining further information. Okay, so the purpose of this presentation, as you can see here, is to perform the financial analysis on the business case of the BYOD project and explore the potential benefits for us CMC Associates. We are also here to seek funding and authorization to implement the BYOD project if it is viable and will bring benefit to our organization. So, what is BYOD? BYOD stands for Bring Your Own Device. It means to permit employees to bring personal own mobile devices to their workplace. For example, smartphones or laptops. So, in doing so, BYOD has some benefits as well as risks. The benefits include cost savings. It would cut down some of the cost, for example, computer costs and its associated costs like insurance, data usage costs, training or support costs. It would also increase employees' satisfaction because employees can choose their own phone, and it allows them to avoid carrying multiple devices for the same function. It would also increase productivity because people are more comfortable using their own devices and they are experts using them. So BYOD makes employees more productive. So of course there are also risks. That includes security measures, which is one of the major concerns for BYOD, the IT security risk. It could also have cost implications. It includes additional costs for setting up the infrastructure, the policies, and training costs. What we got here is the BYOD project model. It has lists the cost for benefits as well as for the costs that's from the BYOD project. And we will be performing 4 benchmarks based on this model to see if the project is viable. So the first benchmark is the payback period, and what we can see here is that the net cash flow will be positive from the second year, and the accumulated cash flow will be positive from the third year. So the payback period will be 3.43 years to be exact. So what we have here is the second benchmark the net present value. Um, Net present value compares the value of the dollar today to the value of the same dollar in the future. So it takes account of inflation and returns, and in our case, the rate for the discount is 10%. So the greater the NPV is, the better, because it means the project has a greater yield from future cash flow. So the best line is that if the NPV of a project is positive, it should be accepted. But if the NPV is negative, then the project should be rejected because the cash flow will be negative. So what we have here, the NPV for the BYOD project is actually 23 million, which is quite an attractive return using this benchmark. So what we have here is the third benchmark, the internal rate of return. Internal rate of return is the interest rate that makes the net present value 0. So as a rule of thumb, the higher the internal rate of return, the more attractive the project is. And we often use the cost of capital as a baseline to compare with the internal rate of return. Because if the rate of return is lower than the cost of capital, then generally the projection are proceed. And in our case, the BYOD project has an internal rate of return of 39% based on the model, which is quite attractive. So we should definitely proceed with this project based on the 39% rate of return. Now the fourth benchmark is the profitability index. It is a ratio that identifies the relationship between the cost and benefits of a proposed project, and it's calculated by dividing the present value of future cash flow by the initial investment. So as a rule of thumb, a ratio of 1 is logically the lowest acceptable measure on the index. So any value lower than 1 indicates that project's present value is less than the initial investment, and that will not be the project will not be feasible. However, in our BYOD project, the profitability index is 3.04, which is again a very attractive number to have. So we can conclude that BYOD is indeed a very profitable project. So since the security concern is always a major part of the BYOD projects, for scenario 1, we're going to consider that what if there is an additional security cost as $3 million per year. And we can see here that the payback period has gone up to 5.14 years, and the NPV stands at 6 million, so still in the positive territory, and the internal rate of return becomes 18%, which is still quite attractive, and the profitability index still above 1 at 1.46. So we can conclude that even with a fixed cost of $3 million of security cost, the BYOD is still profitable. And for scenario 2, we have considered the possibility of incurring additional legal costs. So we have added these additional costs into our model, and what it shows is that the payback period is 5 years. NPV stands at 7, so still in positive. The internal rate of return still quite high at 17%, and the profitability index is still more than 1, stands at 1.43. So we can conclude that with the additional legal costs, the BYOD is still profitable. So in the past two scenarios, we considered the cost increases in some of the categories. Now in the third scenario, we're going to look at what if our productivity doubled, and with this productivity doubled, the payback period has decreased from 3.43 to 3 years, and the NPV has more than doubled from 23 million to 49 million. The internal rate of return has also increased dramatically to 71%, and the profitability index has gone up to 5.49%. 5.49. So we can conclude that BYOD has significantly increased profitability with the productivity doubled. So in conclusion, to recap today's presentation, we have gone through the benefits and also the possible risks from BYOD, and we have also analyzed the BYOD project model using the 4 benchmarks. The payback period within 4 years, NPV of 23 million, the internal rate of return of 39%, and the profitability index of 3.04%. So all of these benchmarks have shown a very profitable project. And we have also considered 3 different scenarios, and under each of these scenarios, the benchmarks are still showing that the project will be profitable. So therefore, I will recommend the senior management to implement the BYOD project. Therefore, I would like to seek the approval of 11 million for initial investment. These $11 million will be used for acquiring new software and putting together a BYOD support team. Because BYOD will bring great benefit to our organization, but we just need to ensure there are sufficient policies and infrastructures in place. So in lessons learned today, we have talked about the benefits of BYOD, including increased productivity in innovation, employee satisfaction, and cost savings. So it's no wonder, according to ZDNet, that more than 44% of the organizations already allow BYOD, and another 18% plans to move to BYOD by end of this year, 2013. So some of the things that we need to consider before adopting BYOD. This includes personal cost, enterprise cost, and enterprise control. There are 4 steps for successful BYOD implementation. Firstly, plan. Conduct a cost-benefit analysis and decide how the project can work for us. Secondly, secure and manage. Ensure there are sufficient policies and infrastructures in place. Thirdly, communicate the policy to ensure that our employees know how to comply and get the most of their personal devices. Lastly, support. Ensure there is continuous support to assist our employees. One of the successful stories with BYOD has been Cisco. After implementing adopting the BYOD in 2009, Cisco has been able to reduce its cost per staff member by 25%, and I'm very confident that with the right policies and infrastructures, we can also achieve this target. Lastly, here is the list of references. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have enjoyed the presentation. And I look forward to implement this new technology here at CNC Associates.